Hello, everyone. Happy almost New Year. I wanted to come on and give you some journaling prompts and mindset homework that you can do to help you get started. I have some people who have said yes to Liberated Business, and we still have some time before that program starts. So I want to give you some tools that you can start diving into right now. Hello, welcome, people who are watching. So it's funny how I've been doing some of these practices from different traditions and different communities over the years, and they all are kind of similar, which is really funny. So I want to kind of credit the people I've learned from before I share these tools with you. One of the places where I've learned this is from the recovery community. That was the first place where I learned how to take a fear inventory. And I used to have a practice of taking a fear inventory literally every day, and sometimes multiple times a day if I was kind of having a hard time. The person who taught me this would say if you do your fear inventory and then 5 minutes later you're fucked up again, mentally having a hard time, that doesn't mean your fear inventory doesn't work. It just means your brain is cranking out some fear. So that's not a problem. Just take your fear inventory again. And then another place where I learned some mindset journaling prompts was from my coach, Kimberly Pendleton. Hi, Kimberly. I love you. You're amazing. And then another place where I've learned kind of some additional steps to that foundation of the journaling process is through Julia Wells, who is also a coach. And I think she credits a lot of her journaling prompts to, I'm looking at the name right now, Carolyn Elliott, who wrote Existential Kink. So those are the credits. I probably should have started out by telling you what these are, because maybe you were I'm bored, I'm not watching anymore. Anyway, okay, so first we start out with bragging. You brag your big wins, your small wins, your silly wins. You can also future brag. So bragging about things that have not yet occurred, which is a lot of fun. Then you write down your gratitude, all the different things that you are grateful for. Again, big or small, gratitude list. Then you write down your desires. So all the things that you want. I want this, I want that. And then if you got all the things that you wanted, what would you want next? So you can dig into that. Then you do, and this is the current version that I'm doing, I got from Julia Wells, and so she's a business coach, and so it's kind of oriented towards business. And I know, hey Kaylin, welcome. Oh, this is kind of for you actually, Kaylin, so I'm glad you're here. Okay, awesome. Hello. So funny. So you do your brags, you do your gratitude, you do your desires, and then you write down kind of your to-do list, or you brain dump what needs to happen today. And then you make that list very, very tiny, and you focus on only, yeah, yay me. Then you focus on only the most essential things that need to get done. You get rid of the things that maybe don't need to happen today. You delegate what you need to delegate. Some of you already have a team of people who work for you. Some of you are oh my God, a team of people. I can't even imagine having that. Some of you have assistants or will have assistants at some point, and you will be delegating. You'll also just learn how to manage your time and learn to prioritize. So you're going to decide, okay, what are the things I'm going to do today? And then you'll also make sure to put on your to-do list something that is pleasurable, because the way to move more quickly and reach your goals faster is to make sure that you make pleasure a priority and a right, not a privilege. We're changing our orientation around pleasure as some reward we get once we meet this marker, once we have success in this particular way, then we get pleasure, then we get to celebrate. Instead, we're throwing that out and we're saying, no, pleasure happens first. Actually, that happens first, and then we do the work, which is it can stir up so much stuff, right? But it's totally the way to do it. Okay, so then your to-do list. Then here comes the fear inventory. Fear inventory is magical stuff. And it's hard for, like I said, I had a practice of doing a fear inventory just on its own for a long time, and I got a lot out of that. Part of me wants to say, you can pick and choose what you want from these things if you can't do it all, because it can be quite involved to do this entire process, but I would really recommend doing it all. If you can't do it all, that's okay. I got a lot of utility out of just working that fear inventory. But anyway, the way I originally learned it was I have fear that blah, 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 or I resent so-and-so or such and such thing because I have fear that blah, 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 blah. And you do not write run-on sentences. There aren't and. You just do, you write short sentences. I have fear that blank. I have fear that blank. I have fear that blank. I resent blank because I have fear that blank. And you just write over and over until you kind of like exhausted all the fears that your brain can pump out. And you've kind of reached the end of that. And it doesn't matter if the fears are completely ridiculous and totally outside of the realm of possibility. If they're big fears, if they're little fears, if they're like fears from the past, it doesn't matter. You just give yourself an opportunity to just brain dump, just like let that stuff out. The other set of prompts that I've learned is even though I desire blank, so in our cases, a lot of times, even though I desire a full practice where I'm making lots of money, I deeply fear and resent blah, 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 blah. I deeply fear and resent that that's never going to happen. I deeply fear and resent that I couldn't possibly charge enough money to meet my financial goals and still work with the people I want to work with. I deeply fear and resent da-da-da. So you just let that, let that stuff go. And then in the practice that I originally learned this, there was a kind of sign off. So you would say like, these are my fears. I am ready to have them removed. Please remove them. Thank you. And then because this was in a tradition where there is a higher power concept, a spiritual concept, because we don't want to hang on to our fears. We want to release them. It's like great to like bring these to the light of day, but we also don't want to hold on to them. We want to let go of them. And so that was a sign off followed by, we pray only for knowledge of your will for us and the power to carry that out. That's not going to work for everybody. You can change that. You can make it different. Maybe you don't believe in a higher power. Maybe you want to release it to, I don't know. I don't know what you want to release it to, but the point is get that shit out, release it. And I don't care if like, as soon as you do this, it's back like 1 minute later. That doesn't mean you failed. It doesn't mean you did it wrong. It just means that your brain is like a fear machine saying, stay small, don't take risks, don't do any of that stuff. Your brain is just doing what it's been evolved to do. It's not a problem. So if like 2 seconds later, hey Casey, welcome. If 2 seconds later, your brain is generating more fears, you're like, oh duh, of course my brain's generating more fears. That's just what my brain does. So take your inventory again. If you need to take your inventory like 20 times a day, do it, because then that you're getting that stuff out and it's not as likely to control you. Okay, so you did your fear inventory. What comes next? You've released your fears. Then you ask yourself some questions like, if I fully trusted myself, how would I show up in my life, in my business today, in my family, in my, whatever area you want to focus on? And again, a lot of you are following me because I'm a business coach for therapists. So you're probably doing this practice around your business, but you can also apply this to your relationships with your loved ones, with your partner, with your family members, with really your body, anything. If I fully trusted myself, if I fully believed I was enough, how would I show up in my blah, 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 blah? What parts of me can I meet with love, acceptance, and approval today? And then finally, affirmations. And this is where it can get, it's all fun, but this is a place where it can get really fun. So then you write down like your affirmations, 10 affirmations about, basically anything, but like it might be about money, it might be about your business, it might be about, some particular aspect about your business. But this is where we want to have you kind of be hey, welcome. This is where we want you to be a little delusional in your affirmations. Like, we're not waiting for the evidence that you're amazing. We're just trusting, believing that you're amazing. So let's say that you're kind of working an edge around raising your fee. And so like an affirmation might be like, people love to pay me. It is so easy for me to ask people to pay me a high fee. Everybody wants to work with me. I provide such a high value service. There's no possible way that what I provide isn't worth even more than this. Like, it's a steal that I'm charging this for my services. Like, it's actually crazy. This is such a good deal. People would be insane not to work with me because I'm so good at my job. If it's an edge around like marketing where you're like, like maybe ordinarily you're like, oh God, I never know what to say. Marketing's so hard. Then the affirmations can be something like, marketing is so easy for me. I could do it in my sleep. Marketing, I can write an Instagram post in a minute. Like, and I just know and trust that everything I say is exactly what my people need to hear. Like, that's just what they need to hear. It's so easy. It comes naturally to me. And so we're just kind of brainwashing ourselves with like positivity. Because here's the thing, like, I'm not asking you to like be avoidant and like cause harm in your life. But if like your brain's natural tendency is just to be so critical, that's not, it's just like, it's not helping, right? Like, you're not actually helping yourself or others by being super self-critical. So you might as well like go in the opposite direction, be like, I'm so great. Because like, here's the thing. What could go if you were like, no, my marketing is on point. Like, it doesn't take me that long to write Instagram posts. Like, it's not that hard. If you're telling yourself that, it's like, okay, if that, I don't know, I have a hard time like thinking of how that could go wrong. Like, if anything, you're just going to pump yourself up. You're going to start writing that Instagram post and it will feel easier probably. And then even if it doesn't, maybe one of your affirmations, like I was having a hard time the other day and one of my affirmations was like, I do my best work when I'm having a hard time. Like, even when I'm having a hard time, my business succeeds. My business is successful and growing whether I'm having a great day or not. My success isn't dependent on my mood, right? And it's like, oh, that's nice. I kind of take the pressure off myself of like, my business can only succeed if I have the perfect mindset, whatever that is, which isn't a thing, right? Okay, so affirmations, that's the end of that journaling prompt. So I'll try and run through it again real quickly for those of you who are maybe like just popped on at the end. So these are journaling prompts. I talked at the beginning who I learned them from that you can do. I would suggest doing them every day. It can take a while. I get distracted when I'm doing it. And I start doing other things. So that's part of why it takes me so long. But anyway, brags, gratitude, desires, brain dump of like things you need to do today, getting like kind of limiting that to a few things, making sure you're including pleasure, then your fear inventory, then like if I fully trusted myself, how would I show up in my life and my business today? If I believed I was enough, how would I show up in my life and my business today? What parts of me can I accept what parts of me can I love, accept, and approve of today? And then, what is the other one? Oh yeah, affirmations. That's the final step. So those are some journaling prompts to dig into. I have learned these through a bunch of different traditions from like a recovery community, through my one-on-one coach, Kimberly Pendleton, through Julia Wells, who like also learned from Carolyn Elliott. So these are prompts that come from a lot of different places and have been kind of like passed down from person to person. Enjoy, dig in, do this work every single day. And if you do nothing else, this will help change your life and your business. And Liberated Business is open. The cart is open through the 9th. It's amazing. You should be a part of it. It's an awesome group of therapists who are like, we're going to change your businesses completely. That's awesome. And if you're like, I don't even know what you're talking about, ask me, DM me. It's really great. It's basically like a one-stop shop for like everything you need to know about your business. We're going to be covering like finances, marketing, finding your ideal client, setting up your website. Oh, is that Kaylin saying yes? Of course. I love that. Yeah, we're going to be covering all of those things. It's like all the best parts of like one-on-one coaching, having that really, really high touch, like Felicia's got my back. She's right there with me the whole time. So it's going to have that element because I know we like want that closeness, we want that care, we want to feel like really safe because we're already doing something scary, right? So it's like we want to know like this person's got my back, I'm not going to be left out there hanging. So it's all of that plus the community piece, which is so huge, because I can tell you all day, I'm like, you're amazing, you're great, blah, blah, blah. But if we like do that in a vacuum, in our cute little cozy vacuum, like that's great. But like, it's also really easy for you to be like, yeah, right, Felicia, you don't know what you're talking about. But when you look beside you and you see that other therapist who is doing that really crazy hard work too, and you see them doing it, you're like, oh, wait a minute. So this is possible, right? And there's that accountability and there's that camaraderie and that building each other up and that kind of like confronting the idea that like here's some special person who's like uniquely bad at this, and it's like, no, you're not. Like the things that work for other people are also going to work for you. So like we're going to destroy that. We're going to like eventually root out that thought and replace it with things that are actually true. So come hang out with us. It's going to be amazing. Yeah, it's a chunk of change. So I figure you're going to have questions and you want to make sure it's a good investment. So like go to my website, look at it, learn more. Or if you're like, I just want to talk to you about it, we can do that too. If you are like, oh my God, I want to be in this, but like, I cannot figure out how to for this, then we can talk. We can figure something out for you. If you are a yes on this, we can figure out how to make it happen. So that is that. All right, everybody, enjoy these. I'll see you later.